champions has claimed another.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
Good morning and welcome to the Monday edition of Racing Across America, live from the Saratoga backstretch. As we said earlier on the Handicappers Report, it is a gorgeous morning here at Saratoga. Things have cooled down. It was actually a little nippy for the first time this season, but by the afternoon, it is going to be comfortable, a lot of fun. Nice 9-race card today. Sun is shining. Should be a great day at the racetrack. We'll get some ideas on the horses to play coming up in a few minutes when we are joined by Andy Serling in his regular Monday spot. We are also going to be talking about the Thoroughfan organization with Bob Giordano. We'll get a little conversation about Thoroughfan, the organization, what they have going on locally here at Saratoga during the meet and beyond. And then towards the end of the program, our friend Mike Peena from the Horse Racing Radio Network will join us. We'll do a little stakes recap. We used to have Mike plugged in regularly on Mondays via phone, but down in the studio, we don't do the Monday edition anymore. But I thought it'd be fun to have Mike come in, Horse Racing Radio Network, live from Saratoga throughout the meet. They've been covering Saturdays up here. Last week, they were out at Arlington for the Arlington Million. We'll talk about Mike's impression of some of the weekend stakes and maybe some thoughts on Arlington last week as well. Coming up, as I say, final segment today, but our opening segment, we are happy to be joined by Ciara Austin. A couple of years ago was one of the ABR, America's Best Racing brand ambassadors. She's been doing some freelance work out at Santa Anita recently. A Saratoga native might not be the correct classification, but a Saratoga resident in the latter portion of her life and into college years. Good morning, Ciara.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today.
Happy to do it. And how long did you live in Saratoga?
I moved to Saratoga in 2004. I went to Skidmore College for my undergrad and caught the horse racing bug. You know, it was kind of a no-brainer living in Saratoga that you don't pick up the culture and pick up the language. So,
were you a racing fan before Saratoga or a horse fan? What brought you over here to the racetrack?
You know, it's really interesting. I've originally from the Philadelphia area, grew up in Devon Valley Forge area, which is very equestrian-based. My mom and I relocated to upstate New York when I was 12 and spent my summers on Lake George actually camping and hiking and didn't really get to the racetrack. I was also underage, so I wasn't really spending a lot of time here. But once I got to Skidmore, everyone said, you have to go to the racetrack. It's a part of your summer. You have to go. And I took myself. I didn't know anything about betting a pony. I didn't know anything about what a clubhouse or a grandstand was or what the apron was. And I just fell in love. And it's been a passion of mine for probably the last 8 to 9 years.
And as I say, you were part of that America's Best Racing initiative, which lasted a few years. You were one of the brand ambassadors. Talk a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Saratoga, they did their first kind of year tour about in 2013. They came to Saratoga and were promoting the sport of horse racing to a younger demographic, which, you know, being a young professional and not knowing the horse racing industry as a child, it's kind of difficult to get involved in horse racing if you don't know. And I loved the initiative of America's Best Racing and going out there and bringing in influencers and finding people that were young that also had a passion. And so I joined their team, went out to California, went to Santa Anita Racecourse, Del Mar Racetrack, and was completely immersed in the sport of horse racing. Had a chance to, you know, be next to Joe Talamo and Victor Espinoza and my favorite Mike Smith jockey, and being able to be in the backstretch and really learn firsthand what the sport is like and bring people that are young from the Los Angeles area into the sport. So it was really a great experience. And
talk a little bit about that. It was a fun initiative. ABR, again, there was like 2 classes of ambassadors, I think, and they had the van that went around with the first class. And it was all about, these were all young people, and it was all about bringing young people into the races. And you've been to the tracks that really play into that. Saratoga, obviously, Del Mar, the same situation, to some extent Santa Anita. but those summertime tracks, I think, lend themselves to bringing in new fans, younger fans. How did that work out as far as the ABR Ambassador Program?
Absolutely. I think that they have, America's Best Racing covered a lot of ground. I love the idea that they did the tour their first year where they went to these big cities, and then, they focused and had ambassadors in certain large cities, Chicago, Miami, around Gulfstream, New York, hitting Belmont, Saratoga, even, some of those other areas like Monmouth Park, and then also, Southern California with Del Mar and a little bit of Los Alamitos and Santa Anita. So it was really great. It helped me solidify the fact that I want to be involved as a career in this industry, and also met a ton of different people and influencers that weren't normally fans, but now have a new appreciation for the sport.
And talk a little bit about, as you reached out to a new audience and potential younger fans, did you get a sense of what was maybe an obstacle for them for horse racing and something that maybe we should start to address?
Absolutely. I think that was a big challenge. I think it's something when you're not familiar with the sport or a certain area that you just don't know how to approach it. I think one of the things that I like to do as my personal blog, as ciaratoga.com, is use where the young people are, what their current interests are, and see how you can blend horse racing into their lifestyle. Instead of throwing the sport onto them, find ways to engage them, whether that's, like Del Mar likes to do a concert series. It's a day of racing, but follow that, you're going to see a headliner that you really know. Finding something that connects with where they are right now and where we are as a society, I think is a good way to incorporate it with horse racing. So there's a lot of fashion, there's a lot of the lifestyle that comes around with it, and I think along in that approach, you can teach people. You're going to see if someone wants it. If they want to click and they want to know why that horse did this, or what's happening here in the paddock, or what do these odds mean, they're going to ask. And I loved having that opportunity as a personal blogger and with America's Best Racing to facilitate that. Yeah,
you got to get them to the racetrack, because once we get folks over here to the front side at Saratoga, certainly they start to fall in love with the game. It's just so much fun. And the backyard here, there's a lot of young people. I think that the attraction here is just there's so many people. It's a lot of fun in the backyard. You have downtown at night, so that attracts young people, as you say. Some tracks have done the concerts, which is a great idea. Keeneland put in the whole college day kind of thing where they give out scholarships and whatnot. And once you pull them in, then they start to get interested, and you point out how to handicap a little bit. And if people cash a couple of tickets, then we got them full.
Exactly. I think for me, I got really interested when I realized that there was more than the Kentucky Derby. There was more than 40 days of a racing meet. Once I started to think, okay, how did we get to Breeders' Cup? Why are these horses so great? You kind of have to backtrack, and I could see that it really was just a part of your life and a part of your culture, and that you can incorporate it year-round. And I was lucky and have been blessed to have the opportunity to be in Southern California and not just have 40 days of racing, but go on a Friday afternoon and, really learn those ponies. So it's been great.
Talk a little bit about being out in Southern California and your experience at Santa Anita. How has that been? And maybe compare the two tracks. I'd love to go to Santa Anita. It just looks absolutely scenic.
Ooh.
Great racing out there. Talk a little bit about that.
You haven't been to Santa Anita?
I have not.
Oh my goodness. We've got to close this down right now and go, because it is, the first time I went to Santa Anita, I cried. It was just like a normal, for them, a normal morning in the backstretch. It was Breeders' Cup 2013, and you see this gorgeous backdrop. It looks like it's out of a movie, and the sun was rising, the mist was coming over the horses, and, I just got overwhelmed. It's just one of the most breathtaking venues I've ever been to in my entire life, and I think that anyone will agree with me if they've been to Santa Anita or just seen a photo. It's really that truly beautiful.
The other one I want to knock off my list, Del Mar. I'd love to get out there.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, Del Mar in Saratoga, a lot of people, because you spend so much time here during the racing meet, I'm sure it's hard to get there. Luckily, they now have that fall meet, so you can get out there, and obviously Breeders' Cup next year. But there's nothing like being able to get up in the morning, go to the beach, have your coffee, handicap your races, and then walk across the street and go spend the day at the track. There's nothing like that. It's really unique. But my heart's still here in Saratoga.
That's what everybody says. Del Mar's fun, and I'm a beach guy, so that whole thing when they show the shot across the street at the back, I love that. But everybody still says Saratoga is Saratoga. But before we let you go, also want to alert people you have a YouTube page, and you were doing some freelance video work for Santa Anita. I pulled up, and I think we have a little footage of it here. You did an interview with Jimmy the Hat, who is a racetrack character. Talk a little bit about him.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy and I are buds. One of the best things, for me, trying to learn the sport is I want to spend as much time with handicappers, people that know the sport, that are very knowledgeable, and that can teach me a thing or two. And Jimmy this is what happens if you're watching the screen and you're watching the show. He sits in the sports book every day, and he has his hat, and he profiles from the paddock, and he's got his strategies, and every day I will go, when I'm at the races, and sit right by him and look over his shoulder and see what he's doing and learn from him. He has over 30 years of experience within the sport, and he's such a character. So if you ever meet Jimmy, you see him at the track, please don't hesitate to say hello. He loves to share his knowledge about the industry.
And again, there's a series of videos you did out there, Mike Smith interview, and more, your YouTube page. Social media, where can people follow you?
Yeah, on social media, I'm at Ciara Toga.
Clever.
Clever, it's my nickname. I did not come up with that. That was just many nights out downtown in Saratoga over the college years. So, but I coined that nickname, and it suits me well. So ciaratoga.com, Saratoga at Facebook, Instagram, my fun photos of life around Southern California and also Saratoga. So
excellent. And we want to get young people into the game. Perfect example right here. Enthusiastic, and check out Twitter feed as well, right?
Twitter, absolutely. I'm on Twitter all day. So.
All right. So check all of that out. Ciara, we appreciate your visiting. Good luck going forward.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right. We'll take a break. Andy Serling in the house. We'll get some ideas for this afternoon and more. Stay tuned.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
It's where dreams are born and champions are tested. Saratoga.
And the excitement of Saratoga is now at your fingertips at CapitalOTBBet.com. Wager any place, anytime on all your digital devices. Watch live racing, get past performances, bet online on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. Now for Saratoga, it's Bet 100, Get 100. Open a new Capital Bets account, bet $100, and get $100 cash back. And don't forget to download our new mobile app, CapitalOTBBet.com.
Can you hear it? It's the sound of excitement. Something we infuse into every grape that goes into our exceptional full-bodied wine. That was closer than I thought it would be. Now, if you'll excuse me. 14 hands, where great times are made.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back, and look who's with us. We missed him last week. He was a little bit under the weather. Andy Serling from the New York Racing Association. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Seth. How are you, guys?
Good to see you back in fine fettle, as
I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a rough week last week, actually. Between being sick and it being hot out, it was almost like I had a real job.
Today is gorgeous.
It is beautiful today.
Yeah, we're Chamber of Commerce, as they say today. Let's jump right into it, because you always have the meetings and whatnot, and get back to the front side. So we want some thoughts for today, but we also want some thoughts going back to the weekend. There were two nice performances, East Coast and West Coast. Let's go back to Saturday. Of course, you guys covered it on the MSG Fox Sports show. The Alabama would Songbird get the distance. We're going to watch the stretch run. Number 6 will be Songbird. Number 3 going for broke. Number 5 Family Tree. 1, 2, 3 in here. The answer to that question, will she get the mile and a quarter? Yes. And convincingly.
It's kind of like Wayne Lucas said. They all get the wild quarter. It's just a question how fast. She didn't get it that quickly.
But much more quickly than the outclassed field.
Yeah, she's a terrific horse. There's no question about it. And she's not just the leader of that division. She's the champion of that division. She's the champion 2-year-old, and she's the champion 3-year-old. Doesn't matter what happens. It isn't going to matter when Captain Sophia beats her in the cotillion. And she did all the dirty work. I mean, just look where Go Maggie Go finished. And Go Maggie Go is a good horse. It's not like she's some sort of bum. I mean, she won the Black Eyed Susan. She won the Gulfstream Oaks. She dueled in those fractions. She got beaten a city block in here. So from a pace perspective situation, Songbird ran a tremendous race. If you look at it from a pace perspective, you look at it from a final time perspective, she did not run a tremendous race. She ran a very nice race. And she's a very, very good horse. What would happen to her if she got tested against real quality horses that are also quality horses going long? Because don't forget, as good as Karina Mia is, and she may well win our ballerina against Holders this weekend, I don't think she's really a 1 1/8 horse. And I'm not knocking Songbird. She's a wonderful racehorse. It was great having her here. But this intense need by people to announce greatness when it's not true and these careers aren't over, I just don't understand. I don't want to sit back and just compare the divisions. Rachel Alexander would have run a circle around her, and other 3-year-olds go for Wand. But these are some of the greatest 3-year-old fillies that ever lived. Mick is running up here. There must be something really going on.
Oh, your microphone is cropped off. So I will vamp for a moment while Amy.
I don't even know where it is.
He lost the microphone. But
toys over. Get a headset.
No, I don't like the headset. I was using the headset when I was done when Florida Derby Day because those
are real high quality headsets. It takes like a day to get used to them. What I'm saying on Songbird, she's a wonderful horse, but let's not call her great. Let's not get all carried away with that, because all it does is place a burden on these horses that maybe they don't necessarily haven't earned yet. Now, California Chrome, on the other hand, I think his sort of greatness is becoming apparent.
Yeah, let's pop out and watch the Pacific Classic later that evening, Saturday. California Chrome will be the #1 horse. Beholder, who ran a very good race, but couldn't keep up with California Chrome. She runs second, Dortmund third in here. You knew when the 111 fraction came up, this was over.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Dortmund didn't have this day. I don't know why he was not even closer to pace in this race. It certainly worked for him last time. But California Chrome just destroyed these horses and ran a very fast race. Got a 113 buyer. He's a tremendous racehorse. And, I think a lot of people misunderstood what I was saying about Frosted. When Frosted won the Whitney and Metropolitan Mile, he had a better resume this year. I didn't say he was a better horse than California Chrome. I said he had a better resume for Horse of the Year at that point. California Chrome probably has the better resume now with the wins in the Pacific Classic and beating Frosted in the Dubai World Cup. So it's certainly on par, if not, he's ahead. I didn't say that Frosted was a better horse. I didn't say Frosted was going to beat him in 1.25 miles. I think everybody that's sane knows that, A, California Chrome has proven he's a 1.25 miles horse. The Breeders' Cup's going to be in his home, not Frosted's. So obviously he's an enormous favorite. I'm just saying they're sort of on par with each other. California Chrome at this point, though, is a prohibitive favorite for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I was kind of in the same boat with you after the Whitney. Once he strung that and the Met Mile together, I was interested to see where the NTRA poll that next Monday would go, given that California Chrome had really had to work to get by Dortmund. But kind of champion in the clubhouse thing, it would have been hard to move him down to second, so he stayed up in the first spot. But I was kind of with you. I thought Frosted, off of the 2-performance Met Mile and the Whitney, you could have made the argument to put him up at #1 in the poll at that point.
Well, the best race run this year was the Met Mile. That doesn't mean horses don't become Horse of the Year off of one performance. But when you put the Met Mile and Whitney together, he had the resume to be the leader in accomplishment for the year. Nobody said that meant you necessarily were saying he's the better horse, or I would bet him in that situation. But you have to be at least a little bit objective about it and try to take yourself out of the equation a bit. I'm not knocking California Chrome. He's a terrific racehorse. And it's amazing when he's overcome, because the handling last year, through no fault of his trainer, Art Sherman, does a great job, was just preposterous by the owners. And he just bounces back this year, and terrific.
And I said it earlier, it's going to now be fun to see, and obviously has the rest of the year to go through. But what happens with that crazy Pegasus race if he keeps running like this? How does that? If you're sitting 6 through 12 potentially there,
there's no chance that 12 people are paying $1 million to run against California Chrome in that race. With all due respect, there are a lot of things in life and in racing that I believe when I see them.
Yeah, as I say, it'll be fun to see how that shakes out. I think it's kind of a fun concept, interesting But
Absolutely.
We'll see how it plays out with
Love
a horse
new
like
ideas.
that.
New ideas are good, you know, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's with a horse like that, it'll be fun to see how it does play out. All right, let's get some ideas for this afternoon. Again, beautiful day on the turf, and we didn't get it was a shower last night, but it wasn't enough to do anything good, which may change by post time because it's a gorgeous, nice little breeze out.
Hard to imagine the main track not being fast
because it's sunny. There's a breeze.
It rained while I walked downtown to dinner. And that was the entirety
I went out to
of
dinner,
the
and it's the same thing. I drove up the Northway, and it was raining for a little bit. By the time I came out, it was done. All right, let's take a look at let's take a look at a few for today. We'll start things out in race number 3, conditional claimers. They're going to go a mile and an 8. I had it 1, 7, and 4. I thought Country
one
Money.
Scratched.
Okay.
Good scratch for you.
I didn't pull up the scratches yet. Yeah. Oh.
I'm there.
I lucked out by the scratch. All right. So now I'm at 7, 4, and 3 at this point. Greyjoy. And Greyjoy, you know, Country Money for me was the big question mark with the surface switch. So Greyjoy was going to be the one to beat. And this horse coming off the race last time and now moving into N2L, which I don't think is a stiff move. You know, if this one pulls back to that last effort, certainly the one to get by in here. But I had it 7, 4, and 3.
I just completely disagree.
Okay.
I don't get
away.
Greyjoy at all in here.
Well, off of that last,
it was a 6 furlong race 5 days ago against a mediocre maiden field, and this race is a mile and 1/8, right? My PPs are correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I kind of like a quick turnaround because that to me says a level of confidence, but we'll see.
Okay. Listen, I have a lot of confidence about things I'm wrong about all the time. Sort of my strong suit or my weak suit, whatever way you want to look at it. I think that makes sense. Makes sense. I think he's supposed to be an overwhelming favorite in this race. He's a distance horse. He's dropping considerably, and to me, he's just supposed to win this race for Wayne Lukas.
Yeah, I got no argument. I said earlier, Wayne Lukas on a nice little roll over the past week and a half or so.
Nice looking maiden winner on Saturday, and everybody's talking about the Chad Brown winner. It was impressive, but they ran at the exact same time, and Wayne's horse was very gritty in getting it done.
We talked about on the handicapping show earlier the horse shipping him from Chicago that took the money with the 233 workouts. I don't blame people for jumping on board that, but boy, it juiced up the price on the Chad runner. And I had Chad on top and the Chicago shipper just underneath, so I was happy with the horse taking some money.
It was funny because the Ingrid Mason horse, talking about in the later race, I was doing the show with Tom Amos, the Sarah Live show. Both of you and I were talking off camera, and I said, Tom, these horses ever win? These out-of-town horses that get bet like this, you know, it's just, they just don't win.
But with those 30, you never see that. You don't see 2 underneath like that. That was kind of amazing. And I'll add Wayne Lukas with the runner in that earlier race. If you're at the track with your kids, stand outside the winner's circle because he typically pulls a kid in for the win photo. That could be fun. 7th race today, optional claimer, 80 tags, non-winners of 3 other than. They're going to go a mile on the turf. I have the 2 Chad horses off the layup, 1st and 3rd in here, 4, 2, and 10 for me. The question mark is the layoff. If you want to go with recency, you go with the Sen, who ran nicely here last time and probably, is the one to beat off of that recency. But 4, 2, 10, and 7 for me to go in a different direction.
Well, I'm surprised that you like Night Prowler more than March, who I think is a vastly superior racehorse to Night Prowler. I mean, March, obviously, they both had issues and they've been out a long time. But March's Hollywood Derby, first of all, he had a terrible trip in the English Channel, his first turf race. And his Hollywood Derby, where he lost to chiropractors, actually scratched it here. It's sort of sickening loss. It was a very, very good effort. And he's coming off a layoff and he drew an outside post, so there are questions with him, no question about it. But I think he's the worst to beat. I picked McKagan in here, who will like any given the ground from the rain. And, I just thought he was loose. And I know he's loose if he gets out of the gate. And I'm going to take a shot with him. I think Vision Perfect's not impossible here. I'm not a Night Prowler fan. I just didn't think he was that good. But I preferred McKagan, March.
Yeah, for me, both of the Chads are kind of a roll of dice coming off of the layup.
Sure.
I had McKagan in the 4th spot. I said it earlier, and I'll get your take. I haven't been enamored with speed on the turf. I've kind of been playing against, and I've been happy with the results at this point.
Okay. Speed's not really good on the turf unless turf gets really, really firm. I mean, that's one of the things we like about turf racing, right? It sort of has fair races. And speed horses could win. They just have to really be the best horse.
Yeah.
Turf racing's usually about the best horse.
Although last summer, not so much.
Well, it got super, super firm, And these mile turf races are tricky races.
And last summer, I wanted to pull my hair out a couple of. They'd float around and hit that far turn. And get up there, get somebody, go up and get, and then they'd float all the way.
Gee, I didn't even notice. Funny you mention it. I never noticed it last summer. Things were just going so well last summer that everything just rolled off me.
All right, let's take a look at the feature today. The Summer Colony, $100,000, 9 furlongs to trip. I put Eskin for money on top off the Molly pitcher last time, although it was a sloppy track. But I think just overall, maybe a little bit of an edge in this bunch. Tiger ride was kind of intriguing to me, although coming out of the turf efforts and then Rachel's temper. How did you see it?
I'm not going to bring up margins of victories and quiz you on that from 30 years ago. I'm going to let you off the hook on that. I do think Escobar is kind of the horse to be in here, but I'm not thrilled by her. I think she's very vulnerable. I think there are a lot of horses that can win in here. I put Rachel's temper on top. The Charlie Baker claim interests me. I thought she ran very well last time out, losing to Going for Broke. And I think Tiger Ride's another horse that has a real chance in here. I'm not convinced Tiger Ride for Grand Motion isn't a better dirt horse. I thought she ran okay in the Valley View when she won it last year. I mean, she did beat Include Betty. So Include Betty's not bad. And I know she's on a gold rail when she was second, but she was second to Stone-tastic in a 7-furlong dirt race, and she's more of a router type. So I think both the 2 and 4 are very usable. And I'm going to use 2, 4, 6 and sort of hope that one of the prices beats Eskin for money. I'm not thrilled with Sweetgrass. Ian Wilkes having a good meet, but I thought her win, that big win 2 back, might have been more a function of just how weak the field was.
I'm right there with you. It just flipped up in a different direction. Speaking of good meets, let's talk a little bit before we let you go of trainers and jockeys with good meets. I've talked the last couple of days. John Velasquez, I think, is having a really good meet. Obviously, it goes through the Ortiz brothers, and Castellano and Velasquez are right there. But I think it could come down to the wire. Velasquez riding very well. Charlie Baker is on the training side of things. About a month and a half ago down in New York, he really started to make some noise, and it has continued up here in a big way.
I agree. Charlie's a great trainer. He's going to be on my show. He's going to be on At the Post Live on Thursday night, along with Ramon Dominguez and Jimmy Patsos, the Siena basketball coach. I got to call Dale Romans, get him to come on. Dale's always so great about that, so hopefully we can get Dale as well. Charlie's a sensational trainer, and you know, anybody that's paying attention in New York during the year has known this for a few years at least. But it's really been a great year for him, especially downstate. But he's come up here and he's just been on fire, and that's when people notice it. So it's great to see a good guy and a good trainer. So it's nice to see him getting some recognition.
And it is fun to see guys like that. You know, was Finger Lakes based for a while down in New York and doing it well, and as well as he's doing, always easy to root for. And then your colleague's husband, Tom's doing well.
Tom's running a great meet, absolutely. His 5th winner yesterday, I think.
I got to get him over here to talk a little bit about it.
He's very publicity shy, a camera, so you'll have trouble getting him over.
That's right. Love to twist his arm.
Yeah, it'll be hard.
Again, Thursday nights down at the Parting Glass. I typically swing down. I get my hot turkey sandwich and listen to the show. Last week was good with Steve Asmussen, Florent Giroux. He was good. Jimmy Ricciel. Nice lineup there, but sounds like a good lineup coming this week as well. 8 to 9 down at the Parting Glass. Get there a little bit earlier so you get a seat. And what's the station?
104.5, the team. If there's not a Yankee game on, it'll be live. If not, they repeat it anyway on Saturdays and Sunday mornings, I think.
Yeah, highly recommended. It's always fun to go down on a Thursday night and then, as I say, catch a little dinner, take a walk around town afterwards.
You sign autographs, right? There's usually a line at your table.
There is usually a line at my table. Last year I sat down to eat dinner. And I don't know the people sitting around me, but the waitress comes and hands out the checks afterwards, and I don't get one. And so I turn to her and say, "Where's my?" And the person across the table, who I have no idea, is paying for my dinner. I said, "No. That's very nice, but yeah, I'll pick up my own check. Thank you." All right, we'll wrap things up for this Monday visit with Andy Serling. We'll see you again next Monday, a little post-Travers conversation.
Really? You sure of that?
Well, I'm never sure, but I'm counting on it.
It's possible. Definitely see you one of the next 2 Mondays.
Okay. Andy Serling, New York Racing Association. You can catch him in the pregame show during the day. And again, Thursday nights down at the Parting Glass. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some Thoroughfan. Stay tuned.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Face it. Most horse racing websites are just too much. Too much clutter. Too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit RTN.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrow.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Hi, I'm Acacia Courtney. I'm a senior at Fordham University, and believe it or not, I'm a fan of horse racing. It used to be that we would come to the track to watch beautiful horses run and maybe even place a bet. But today, competition for gaming dollars has taken over all of that. Now, fan numbers are dropping. Why is that? Because new people are not being introduced to our sport. ThoroughFan is a national 501c3 nonprofit thoroughbred fan organization that wants to change all of that. Be a part of making a difference in our sport. For just $25 a year, you can be a part of a network of thoroughbred racing fans. Visit thoroughfan.com/join for more information.
Now get all the racing information you need right on your mobile device with Capital OTB's new mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone or tablet. Watch, wager, and win right at your fingertips. The new Capital OTB mobile app.
And it's the filly Winning Colors. Gary Stevens going to the whip left-handed. Just one crack, though. It's Winning Colors turning in an absolutely outstanding performance. We're looking at one exceptional filly.
Welcome back. Monday morning here on the Saratoga Backstretch, Racing Across America. As promised before the break, a little conversation about the ThoroughFan organization. Bob Giordano will join us. Good morning, Bob.
How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you back here to talk some ThoroughFan. Michael Amo, the big chief for ThoroughFans, off the set, and he sent you on because you're the local guy. Talk a little bit about the mission of ThoroughFan.
The idea is to give the fans a say in what happens in the racing world. We are certainly a part of it, and an important part. If you look at the monies that come in on the track, it's the fan that's helping make this go. Sure, we love the owners. You know, they really are the guys putting on the stars of the game, but the fan has an impact on the game as well. And you know, Michael's idea, I believe, was let's just get together and be able to kind of become a force to help ensure that things go well from all aspects of it. Without the fan, without the horse, without the owner, there's no racing. Certainly without the trainer, which is how the Saddle Tail Guide came in.
Yeah, it's kind of a triangle. The racing officials, the owners, and then the bettors. You need all three of those components to make the thing go.
If you look at, I'm sure you're familiar with Embrace the Race. If you look at Mike Danzeros' logo, there's 9 pieces of there. Each segment represents some piece of the racing game that all takes together to make it go.
Yeah, and the fans are a big part of it. So it was nice to put an organization together to, as you say, give fans a voice, because we all have opinions, but until we get together and act as a group, nobody wants to listen a lot of times.
You got it.
So ThoroughFan, again, you can check out information about becoming a member at their website, or swing by some events, because I know you have some events regularly scheduled during the Saratoga meet. Talk a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah, the chapter has tried to get a regular gathering of people that are here in the area, as well as people that are seeing the races and have read about it over at the Embassy Suites. Every Monday night they get together after the races. And this particular week, Embassy Suites on Thursday's got a Travers program with Dave Litvin, trying to help people understand the handicapping angle associated with this. I mean, there's the horse angle, there's the energy angle of the backyard, but the horse handicapping is certainly a piece that I think makes the puzzle really more interesting.
Yeah, you guys are one of the sponsors, Travers Tips and Sips, with our friend Dave Lipton. That will be over at the Diamond Club at the Embassy Suites over on Congress Street, and 7:30 that kicks off Wednesday night. So swing by there, friend Dave Lipton. Sure to give some good advice.
Hey, you got it.
And you have something coming up with our friend Teresa Gennaro tomorrow night, correct?
That's correct. Yep. Teresa's out at the Prime. Is it Prime? Longfellows? Yeah, Longfellows. I know it's out Union Avenue. Sorry, Teresa. And out there, Teresa's going to be also giving the fan an education as well and helping people better understand the game. And there's nobody better than that at Teresa.
And the Tuesdays are a regular scheduled event, correct?
Yep.
The Tuesday evening. Talk a little bit about the Thoroughfan national organization, but you also have local chapters. You're with the Saratoga chapter. Talk a little bit about the local chapter and how vigorous is that?
It's vigorous. Well, you know, I think horse players are not normally joiners, you know, and so we get together every Monday night. The chapter started, what, 9 years ago, 10 years ago is the first one, and we've had ourselves a steady collection of people, all interested in making the game go. The saddle towel guide that we put together, a lot of it is photographs and information that are gleaned and put together by members in the chapter, all volunteer effort. And we just talk horses, we talk personalities in the game. I mean, Eric Guillot's name comes up a lot.
Oh, he has no personality.
He had a great one this morning. Cyril was coming off the track with a horse, and Loban was here, and Loban started to come. Cyril's horse started to come in on Loban for a little bit. Eric, without missing the beat, says, "Easy, son. Don't let the dime get in the way of the dollar." So yeah. But so we get together and we just talk horses and we talk things Saratoga and just what's coming up for the next meet, where we're going to get together and what we could do to interest other people in the town, in the game. So that's it.
And you've referenced it a couple of times. You have put out the saddle towel guide, which it was a great idea. I understand you were the impetus for it, but talk a little bit about, and part of what makes Saratoga Saratoga is the mornings here at Saratoga. And if people want to pick up one of these, it'll help them out in the morning.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to sit on the backside and I would ask the gap attendant, say, "Who's that? Who's that?" And I found myself asking the same question more often, and I started grabbing photographs of it with a little iPhone. And then I had some Bob Ewell and some other photographers around here, Barry Bornstein, and they would grab pictures and we'd get it together. And we said, you know, let's put this so that people that are watching on the rail at that time listening to Mary Ryan, now listening to Maud Walsh, and they can see this towel go by and say, "Hey, who's that?" And now we've got a way to help them understand it. It's a great souvenir. It's free. I mean, this thing is quality paper. It's a souvenir that you can take with you. The Visitor Center, the Saratoga Convention Tourism Bureau is supporting it this year as our platinum sponsor, so it's finding itself in the way into the hotels as well as the downtown businesses. And you get over there, it's for someone that's tried to get it going, and now to see people walking around with it in their hip pocket, it just is, you know, it works, and it's kind of good. And there's information, in addition to the saddle towels that are in there, there's also a little glossary about things that you might see at the morning workout. It changes from year to year, and we always honor the leading trainer with the Alan Jerkins Award, and we mentioned a little bit about him. It's getting tough to write new things about Todd Pletcher, but we keep coming up with it, and this year, well, we'll see who comes in now. I don't know if Todd's going to get a baker's dozen this year or if he's going to have a brief respite. He had one year when Linda Rice came through, you know. So.
Yeah, you may have to freshen up your pen regarding Chad.
I understand.
But again, the towel guide, it allows you to leaf through and pick out which trainers' horses you may be looking at in the morning. A really, really fun, nice resource if you're going to come over here for breakfast or just to kind of walk on the backside and watch them work out in the morning. You say you can get it around town. Where can you pick it up over on the front side as well?
No, the front side, it's not necessarily there yet. There's a lot of people that bring them in when they pick them up around town. The Whitney stand, you know, there's some over there, I understand, as well. The neat thing about the guide is that it used to be just for the 40 days of the meet. Now that we have the Whitney stand, it's useful over there from April 15th to the end of October. And so our people that come into town taking part of the convention and tourism area, you know, opportunities, when they take the bus loads over there to see the workouts in the morning, they get a feel for it, and they have the same resource as well to use and take home.
And it's interesting, you have it broken down kind of by color, so that as you're looking out, you can kind of go to the color and parse down to who you're looking at. I think it makes it kind of fun and easy. So again, if you're going to head over in the mornings, you can pick one of these up. Say the visitor center downtown and some of the hotels.
Hotels, visitor center, businesses. There's advertisers in there and that help pay for this thing to some degree, and they have them in their stores. So if you're walking downtown, it's another kind of a partnership between racing and downtown Saratoga, which is such a tight weave anyhow.
Yeah,
So,
and I always say that's what's nice about Saratoga. It doesn't just stop at the chain link fence around the track. It's the town as well that makes the racing so much fun.
You've got waiters that can talk racing. You know, that's great. So.
And waiters probably are the best because they have all day free.
Yeah.
So, also want to mention Thorough Fan. You guys are the sponsors of every year. There's the Eclipse Awards. And you guys have the breakfast, the day before, and the nice awards breakfast.
That's what it's been, I believe. This year it's going to be on the actual day of the Eclipse Awards down there. Yeah, Mike Nyman and the Gulfstream community down there, where we've had this down there for their breakfast. They have a breakfast opportunity down there. We're using that as well, so it should be good. Actually, we're talking about doing this at other race courses around the country that do have a breakfast, because they're starting to see the value of that for their patrons and to take it from there.
Because I know Santa Anita has Clocker's
Corner.
Yeah.
So
great idea.
Anything to get people understand the game a little bit more in depth, like I did, and it just takes you want to learn more.
Talk a little bit about that. How'd you become intrigued with horse racing?
Well, I grew up on one at 3 months old. I had 18 box stalls to clean as I grew older, and when I graduated from high school, they gave me a pitchfork painted gold and said, "You're done." But the horse stays with you. And I found myself working with the Meatball GE up here in Saratoga, and it just all started coming back. And I'd come over to the front side, just get the energy. There's no energy like here in Saratoga. Get that going. And then I would find myself being invited onto the back side by a couple of trainers that I started to get to know. And it just took off from there and there and there. And just you start to now you know the horses, you know what times mean. You know, you see a 59.3 by Laubon the other day, and you go, whoa, yeah, that's decent. So these are things that I've picked up over the years. I had a piece of a horse for a while. That didn't provide me the satisfaction I wanted to at the time. And then I started traveling around the world, still coming back during August, but I couldn't keep up with it. But the horse, I mean, I've seen them fold. I've done everything with them at that point in time, so it grabs you. Right? And when I ask people how when I ask people how they get involved in racing, inevitably it seems like they were there young. And you'll see a photograph or two in the guide where I've got a father holding a kid up against the rail. That's where we all get it from at that point in time.
Yeah, and Saratoga is extra special, certainly. Just before we let you go, we were talking before you came on during the break. Relate the wedding story. That shows your level of fandom, I think.
I went to my sister-in-law's wedding on Whitney Day, and you do that for family. But my other leg was still in the racing world, and I was watching the races below the tablecloth, and Gustavo Delgado's horse came in on the test. And everybody was startled when I went, yeah! And then I kind of said, but
I kicked the leg of the table.
The game stays with you, no matter where you go. I mean, I was working in Taiwan, and I was watching it.
You gotta love that.
Yep.
Anything impressive so far at the meet? I mean, we've had Flintshire, we've had Songbird a couple of times. I think that Travers is shaping up to be maybe help define the class a little bit, but it looks like a big competitive field.
14 horses plus, it's the Whitney to me has always been a great race. Yeah. This year, the Travers has overtaken it this year, and I'm looking forward to it. When I was in England one time at Haydock, Bangor-on-Dee, and they found out that there was a Yank there, and it was the day before the Derby, and they were asking me, who do you like in the Derby? And I was smart enough just to say, I said, but, there's a horse that Rick Violet has, and I'm kind of keeping my eye on. Well, the horse came, Samarat, I think it was? Yeah. Samarat came around the top of the stretch, and he was doing well. He was third, working his way up to second, and then Chrome went by him. So afterwards, I looked at the guy that was on TV. I said, hey, you got a pair of them dark glasses with the eyebrows and the nose? I don't want nobody to know. Only people I made happy was the bookies.
We've all been there.
But the Travers is going to be a good race, and Mohayman's out, but there's just so many opportunities. The crowd is going to make it, the crowd of horses is going to make it really a tactical race. There's a lot better people at describing how the race will turn out than me. I'm going to sit back and think for a while. And I got 14 people coming from around the world at the Rail Pavilion, guy coming in from Austria who don't know nothing about this game. But we'll see what Baldy looks like. So.
All right. I think it's going to be a fun, competitive race. Good betting event. So looking forward to it to draw tomorrow night. Bob, we'll let you go. But again, we'll remind people you can pick up the Saddle Towel Guide around town. Great resource to bring to the racetrack. Wednesday night, Thoroughfan, one of the sponsors of Travers Tips and Sips at the Diamond Club Grill, 7:30 on Wednesday. Tomorrow at Longfellows, our friend Teresa Gennaro will be a speaker at your event. Yep. So a lot of things going on for Thoroughfan. You can also swing by their website. There's the website address right there, thoroughfan.com, to find out events and more about the organization itself, and potentially sign up and become a Thoroughfan.
$20? Come on.
Yeah.
Like Trump says, what do you got to lose?
And then your voice is melded in, and you get to be part of that conversation in the racing game. Bob, we appreciate the visit.
And thanks to OTB for being one of the sponsors of this guide. Appreciate it.
We appreciate all
Thank
you do. Bob Giordano from Thoroughfan. We'll take a break. When we come back, our friend Mike Peena, Horse Racing Radio Network. Stay tuned.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
It's where dreams are born and champions are tested.
Saratoga. And the excitement of Saratoga is now at your fingertips at CapitalOTBBet.com. Wager any place, anytime on all your digital devices. Watch live racing, get past performances, bet online on our state-of-the-art wagering platform. Now for Saratoga, it's Bet 100, Get 100. Open a new Capital Bets account, bet $100, and get $100 cash back. And don't forget to download our new mobile app, CapitalOTBBet.com.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system. Never get shut out again.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back. Monday mornings used to mean a regular visit from Mike Peena, Horse Racing Radio Network, but the rest of the year we took the Mondays out of the schedule, so we missed Mike with the stakes recap. But since we're plugged in Mondays here at Saratoga, happy to have you back, buddy. Mike Peena from the Horse Racing Radio Network.
Seth, thanks, buddy. Great to be back in the saddle with you again, and looking forward to the next few minutes. Should be a lot of fun.
We'll get some stakes recaps. That was the game plan when we had Mike on regularly. But before we get to some of that, let's just catch up and talk Horse Racing Radio Network. You're up here in Saratoga through the whole meet, correct?
Yeah, we partnered with Naira last year, if you remember, to create a new broadcast series on the network called Saturdays at Saratoga. And we broadcast from here every single Saturday for the 7 weeks, and it's been a lot of fun. We provide coverage of all the big races and get a chance to host our Saturday morning Equine Forum show from here and several special guests, much like you do on this program. And it's been, it's been a great ride. It's been a lot of fun.
And again, if you go to the Horse Racing Radio Network website, type that into Google, Horse Racing Radio Network, you'll come right to the website. All your programming archived, and I noticed we talked with Andy Serling a few minutes ago. You just the other day talked to Charlie Baker, who's red hot.
Oh, he is absolutely red hot, and he's boy, what a great interview too. He spent a full hour with us on our weekly trainer talk show. Talked about his life and growing up around Caymanas Park in Jamaica, which is a place that, believe it or not, so many people have started in this game. You hear about guys like jockey Sean Bridgmahan and Rajiv Miraj, who are natives of Jamaica, and the name that they've made for themselves, and Charlie Baker kind of following suit here and really on a roll here at the meet. Yeah, it's been great.
And that's part of Equine Forum, Trainer Talk. You also have stakes previews on Friday, typically.
Stakes previews on Fridays. We have a program every single day, pretty much now on SiriusXM. So if they go to horseracingradio.net, they'll pull up a whole schedule. And by the way, a brand new addition to the family that we just launched with the Jim Dandy earlier this meet. Now broadcasting races in Spanish as well.
I saw that on the website.
Yeah, the all-new HRRN in Espanol. So you can go to hrrninespanol.com to learn more about those programs. But the Travers this weekend going to be all in Spanish from 3 to 6 Eastern. Of course, English too, but 3 to 6 Eastern with the Spanish. Ramon Dominguez is going to sit in as a special guest analyst. So how cool is that?
Yeah, I saw you added that when I went to the website last night. That's a great idea. I mean, Naira added the Spanish race caller a couple of years ago, and it's just absolutely a great idea.
Yeah, I think so. Luis Grandison, he is the one who provides the calls for us up here and does a tremendous job. So really going to be a lot of fun coming up on Saturday, both English and Spanish from 3 to 6.
So again, go to the website. You can get the schedule and the station lineup, SiriusXM, and more importantly, maybe pull up some of the archives, because you guys have had some great interviews, certainly up here this season. Let's talk a little bit about this past weekend. Again, you've been in doing the weekend racing here at Saratoga. I'd love to get some of your thoughts on this past weekend. Songbird and the Alabama, 2 stops up here for the undefeated filly. Perhaps the highlight of the meet, although I said earlier a couple of times over the past week or so, I think the story of the meet may turn out to be Lady Eli. We'll see how that works out. But Songbird this past Saturday, 1.25 miles, would she get it done? Yes.
She would get it done, and she got it done emphatically here. And, you know, when she wins, she was a heavy favorite. She was supposed to win the way that she did, and you love to see stars perform at the highest level, and you love to see them perform the way that they're supposed to perform, and that's what Songbird did. And how about this ride from Mike Smith? A very patient ride, was able to sit off the early pace setter, and then when he said go, she just put on a show here. And it was really neat, because from our vantage point where we were doing the broadcast, we were about, well, less than a 16th of a mile from the finish line, and our position here is right on the apron, so we had so many people around us getting ready to watch her. And when she came onto the racetrack, there were signs, the Songbird posters that they had given out throughout the day. People were holding those up, and they were, you know, snapping pictures of her, and it was really great to see for the sport.
And you guys, again, you kind of have a nice vantage point just on a platform right in front of the facility itself. And as you say, about the 16th pole or so.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, because I was standing in the winner's circle area, but I always love this classy situation. And in Saratoga, with the fans being as savvy as they are, it's really worth it. But Mike took her all the way up after the race, all the way up to the top of the stretch.
It was so great. We actually went to a short commercial break right after the race, and we came back, and we had about 3 or 4 minutes to wrap up the broadcast. And as we were coming back, Mike was coming right past us for that very moment that you mentioned. And it's so cool, because we've seen Mike do this with super fillies like Zenyatta. We've seen him here at Saratoga back in the early to mid-90s with a horse like Holy Bull. I mean, he is just the quintessential jockey. If you could take a jockey mold and make one, it would be Mike Smith. And so he comes back down with Songbird, and everybody's cheering, and they continue to cheer all the way down. He took her to about the 8th pole, walked her all the way back, and the cheering never stopped. He took his cap off, he looked up to the heavens, he was pumping his fist. It was really an emotional moment and really special. That's what racing's all about.
Yeah, those kind of moments are what makes Saratoga really so special. Talk a little bit about that, because you bounce around. You spent the winter down at Gulfstream, you bounce around to some other venues, but you spend the summer up here at Saratoga. Talk about Saratoga in the pantheon of American racetracks.
Well, for me, I'm a bit biased, because I grew up just an hour from Saratoga in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, so this is my home track. This is where I cut my teeth on racing and stood by the rail and watched Easy Goer win the Travers back in '89, and I remember exactly where I was sitting when Holy Bull won the Travers in '94, and so many of the great moments that have happened here I've been very privileged to be part of as a fan. And now, you know, to be back here and broadcasting the races. But you talk about what Saratoga means to the sport, and I don't think there is another racetrack, all due respect to tracks like Keeneland and Del Mar that are somewhat boutique meets, much like Saratoga. The atmosphere here, the vacation destination, the family atmosphere, the picnic table area out back, and then, of course, everybody in the clubhouse dressed to the nines. to get that type of dynamic, I don't think you see that at any other racetrack in America.
And 40,000 people on Saturday.
It's just unreal.
It's incredible. And as you were talking, you mentioned the backyard. It reminded me, and I'll tip my cap to you and what HRRN has become. But I remember you out in the backyard with your former colleague out there, a little table.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. We started doing the broadcast here out by the paddock area, and there was a reason for that, Seth, because at the time we hadn't evolved to where we are today, where we have reporters doing the broadcast with us that are out in the field with IFBs in their ear and wireless mics that can go from here to the other side of the racetrack. We had a very small setup, and at that time we didn't even have IFBs, so there was no way to really let that person know when they could start talking if they were sitting out in the paddock, other than to cue them. What we would do is we used to take a red index card and hold it up like this to let them know when they could start talking. So you had to have direct line of sight, and that's why we had to be set up next to the paddock in those early days. And it worked. Somehow we got it all together.
Yeah, but as I say, I remember those days. A little primitive, but they were stepped up nicely. So tip of the cap to you guys for what HRRN has become, which is really a major player in the industry. Let's also talk a little bit, because I mentioned at the top of the show, last week you left Saratoga because you covered Arlington Million Day. Nice stakes card out there. Logistically, before we get into the races, were you doing the day before the Hall of Fame, and then it was a quick turnaround to Chicago?
Well, we were very fortunate. You mentioned the evolution of HRN. We now have a couple of other people that help out with doing the shows, with Anthony Stabile, who hosts a lot of our weekday programs, does that mostly from New York, from Aqueduct and from Belmont, and Acacia Courtney, who's been up here working with us throughout the summer. So we were fortunate that Jude and I, Jude Feld, my normal partner on the broadcast, we were able to make our way to Arlington earlier in the week to get ready for that show. And Anthony and Acacia stayed back here to handle all the duties with the Hall of Fame inductions and all that coverage we provided. And then, of course, we were going to tag team the Four-Star Dave and the Four-Star Dave and the Adirondack with them on Saturday afternoon. But then the skies opened up here at Saratoga, and the races were canceled, so we had to focus just on Arlington, which was fine. It worked out. What a great day of racing in Chicago.
And before we get there, I should also mention you guys covered your wife. I saw walking around with Acacia and the camera. You were part of the video team for Facing Tipton. They folded in some of your coverage.
Yeah, that was great. For the past 4 or 5 years, we've been here to provide radio coverage on Sirius XM of that Facing Tipton selected yearling sale. And people say, wait a minute, how are you going to broadcast a yearling sale? Where's the excitement in that? You wouldn't believe the number of people that come to our website and to the Fasig Tipton website and go to Sirius to listen to that, because there's so much interest in the future stars of the sport, and that's such a premier horse sale, really the premier yearling sale in the world. And so you get all of the top yearlings coming through there. You see some horses that someday might be a Travers winner or a Coaching Club American Oaks winner. It's really cool.
The cover of the book this year was 4 champions that came out of the sale over there. And we picked up we were streaming the video those 2 nights, so we picked up some of your coverage. And our viewers appreciated it too. But let's get back to Chicago. Chicago racing, unfortunately, the past couple of seasons, particularly this season, things are a little dicey out there, but their big day, just looking at it visually, it looked like it was a big day out there. Talk a little bit about Arlington Million.
Yeah, things are a bit dicey with the Chicago situation, the Illinois racing situation right now, and it's a shame because there's so much history with Arlington Park and with a race like the Arlington Million. But you think about what we saw last weekend, and this has become typical of every Arlington Million Day that we've covered, and this was our 12th consecutive year of being on site for the Arlington Million. You attract so many top horses from across the pond, right? So many Europeans.
And we have the stretch run here while you're talking. The number 9, Mondial East, will be the winner in a nice ding-dong battle down to the wire, but continue.
Yeah, Mondial East ran so big, so big. And here's a horse that's come to America a couple of times. This is the 3rd time that Mondial East has competed in North America and now has 2 wins in a second, and all of those in Grade 1 events. So a horse that certainly knows how to get it done in a big way and ran a bang-up race. Kosaki, who ends up finishing 2nd in here, had a little bit of traffic trouble, but when he got free, he really came running at the end too. Unlucky runner-up in this spot, but take nothing away from Mondial East. It just goes to speak to the caliber of competition that comes here from Europe. And I've always said that that's kind of it's the first time we get a chance to look ahead to Breeders' Cup Turf and to the Breeders' Cup Mile and to the Filly and Mare Turf division with races like the Beverly D, and you get a sense of how our Americans stack up with some of the, maybe not quite the top Europeans that come here, but some pretty darn good ones.
which then flatters the top Europeans.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out as we make our way toward the Breeders' Cup in early November.
And talk about the rest of the day, because the day after we had Doug Bradar in here with us, agent for Florent Geroux. So as the day was progressing along, was the Geroux story kind of bubbling to the surface?
It continued to build. And then when he gets kissed into the victory via DQ in the pucker-up, which was the race after the...
And then what happened in the million?
And then in the million, he's riding the favorite. It's funny because we had a chance to catch up with Florent this past week on our Equine Forum show, and we talked about his 5-win day on Million Day, and we asked him about that million. And the one thing I asked him, I thought this was kind of interesting. I said, what's it like for a jockey when you're in that position, you're having a day where you've won 4 races, going for a 5th, you go back to the jocks room. Do the other jocks kind of stay away from you like a pitcher that's pitching a perfect game, or do they try to get into your head a little bit because they want to win that Arlington Million too? And he said, no, he said, everybody's very supportive, and he gave me kind of the politically correct answer. Everybody's very supportive, and they're all hoping that you're going to do well. But you knew every jockey in that room wanted to beat him in the Arlington Million, and they did.
It was a great day by a jockey who's kind of been an up-and-comer over the past year or so, but he put together a great day. But yeah, they gets beat with the favorite. In the million. but Doug, the next day, they were thrilled with the, you had to be.
He was over the moon. I ran into Doug as we were walking out after our broadcast, and he was all smiles, and he couldn't stop smiling. And you bring a jockey over there that, let's face it, Florent hasn't had the greatest of Saratoga meets, and you bring him to Arlington and he puts on a show like that, and I think it makes horsemen wonder what they've been looking at all along here at Saratoga and why they haven't been giving more mounts and quality mounts to Florent, because the guy's a difference maker in the sport of thoroughbred racing.
Yeah, he's been an up-and-comer, as they say, for the past couple of seasons. Put together a great day out, Arlington Million Day, which was covered by HRRN. They're covering the Saturdays here up at Saratoga. Looking forward to the Travers?
Yeah, can't wait. Again, 3 to 6 Eastern on Saturday, and we're looking at a huge field. It might be, 13, 14 horses in the Travers, which I think that speaks to the wide-open nature of this 3-year-old division. You're in a year where you had 3 separate Triple Crown winners or winners of the Triple Crown races, and now you come here to the Travers. And heck, you have a horse like Lauban, who upset the Jim Dandy as a maiden. Where is this 3-year-old division? Who's the leader right now? And we're going to see if a leader can emerge coming up on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that's. I think this may help give a little definition to the 3-year-old division, which is a little bit in flux. And I know if it rains, I know the definition may continue to go with exaggerator, but his words have all been on sloppy treasure. I think you say at this point he's the leader, but with an asterisk.
Yeah, you don't know what to make, but hey, let's face it, a win's a win, and he'll take it. And when you look at some of his dry track performances, he's run well on a dry track. He ran very well in the Kentucky Derby. That was a dry track that day. So it's not like he's been abysmal on dry tracks. He's put in his usual effort. He's just been beaten those days. Is he better on a wet track? I think undoubtedly yes. The weather forecast as of right now for Saturday is for dry weather. So it should be a fast track for the Travers, and we'll see how he handles that.
Yeah, it should be fun. As you said, big field, and always the highlight of the meet. Big crowd, should be a lot of fun up here. You can catch the coverage on the Horse Racing Radio Network, but also check out the Equine Forum, Trainer Talk, the stakes previews. Plenty there. Visit the website for the entire schedule. Mike, as I say, we missed you on Monday, so thanks for swinging by today. Good luck on the rest of the meet.
Always fun. Thanks for having me, my friend, and appreciate it. Thank you. Good luck.
Mike Peena, Horse Racing Radio Network. That brings us to the end of Racing Across America for this Monday. Looks like it's going to be a great day up here at the racetrack. If you're headed up, have a great day. Not only 9 races, you can head down, have some dinner, walk down Broadway. Should be a lot of fun. We're off tomorrow. Obviously, it's a dark day, but we will be back on Wednesday morning. So enjoy the races this afternoon. Let's all cash a few tickets. We'll see you back here Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock for the Handicappers Report.
You've been watching Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.